All right, okay. I've got my intention set. I have my frequency and vibration aligned. My perspective is ready. What? Wait. Am I recording?
Hello, my scrumptious little morsels, and welcome to my very first podcast of Three Minds Aligning, a sister project of conceptual impressions. And if you've been following me on social medias, you know I'm a bit of a talker. So I finally decided. Well, I decided a long time ago that I was going to do this podcast. I've been convincing myself for about 2 years, but here we are, finally, and welcome. Thank you. I am so excited to do this finally. It's nerve sighting. I'm nervous and excited, so nerve sighted. Even if nobody ever watches this, or it's just me talking to myself, it's okay because I've done the thing. I've done the thing. I've sent the energy out there. I've changed my mindset. And that in and of itself is magic. Now, just like my social medias, TikTok, I'm on Snapchat, but I don't do much there. Instagram, Facebook. Is that all of them? Like all the main ones, anyway. Um, this podcast is going to be about basically changing, right? Life happens all the time, but this is changing with intention. It is going to be where science and spirituality meet, and where my journey, I have implemented these changes into my own life and letting you see a bit of the messy, a bit of the raw. And for me personally, like learning a lot of the neuroscientific techniques, learning about epigenetics, which is just basically the history of your genes and how they express themselves. Um, it left me a lot of times with thinking, well, what does that mean in this circumstance? And what does that mean in that circumstance? And how does that play out? And I thought, well, maybe it'll be helpful because there's so many people that I follow that like know the actual neuroscience or the epigenetics of things. You've got the big guns like Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, like before him, Dr. Wayne Dyer. You've got generalists like Esther Hicks, channeling Abraham Hicks. So, and many, many more. Dr. Tara Schwartz, love having ladies. Dr. Lynn McTaggarty, and she has a podcast called The New Science. Dr. Tara has her own podcast as well, like most of them do anyway. Dr. Joe doesn't, I don't think, but he has a lot of other things out there. So, and Dr. Lipton, not as far as I know, but there's still many, many, many out there. And there's a lot of people that are building their own following based on, neuroscience, and they're explaining what the chemicals are and what those chemicals do and what thoughts can trigger that sort of thing. And that's all well and good. And I'll probably be sharing some of that too because geek love, babies, geek love, you know what I'm saying? But my main goal between that and the videos that I make for TikTok, usually I put them on TikTok first because I just find editing there easier. I don't even actually edit, but find, adding the music and stuff easier there than anywhere else. But the whole point of this is to get a little bit deeper into it, a little bit more soul. Not that I don't put my soul into the other ones, it's just for the way I live life and I process. And hopefully, as time goes on, I'll have people on here with me and maybe a permanent co-host. Who knows? We shall see. But it's going to be a journey, and I hope along the way I can help you realize that the yucky, messy can turn into beautiful, and life can be better. And the reason let me share a little bit about myself, okay? So, the reason I am here and the reason that I want to share this, I'm just not another little Pollyanna. Like, there's so many people that have met me, just in my general life, that even before I started doing all this, or even like after, because most people I know don't follow me. Um, they they're surprised a lot of times by my choice of words, the things I do, how I'm like showing up smiling more often than not. Like they're looking at me like, why are you so happy? And I'm like, why are you not so happy? Maybe we should talk about that. But And then they get super surprised about the life that I have lived up until this point. So now I like to give you big T for trigger warning, okay? Like, my kid keeps trying to teach me how to do this stuff, and if you follow me on the socials, you'll know that a lot of times I forget until like just a second before. So, trigger warnings for basically abuse and trauma and all that sort of stuff, domestic violence, whatever. So, that in and of itself, having those warnings should tell you guys that it ain't been easy. It wasn't easy to begin with. Um, I not 100% sure that I was a wanted child anyway. Wanted. I don't know if you can understand. Sometimes I blur the words a little bit. Hopefully you understand. But I I spent most of my life loving my family and thinking it's the greatest family on earth. And I loved how close I thought we were. But then at the same time, I would think they didn't want me, that I was a burden. I was too much. Of course, fast forward to like age 47, and I was like, oh, I got ADHD. Okay, maybe that's why I was too much, girl. But anyway, and my brother had gotten diagnosed and never told me. It's like, hello, it's inherited. Why wouldn't you say? Another whole story there, people. But I have experienced, like, my mother was killed by my stepfather. There was a lot of domestic violence there, emotional, mental, physical, that I didn't understand or get back in the day. I had been in abusive relationships myself. There's just been a lot, I've been around a lot of trauma and abuse, a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts, mostly alcoholics. So now there's also a trigger warning for suicidal stuff. So if you need to beep or go forward, I don't know, maybe I should make some sort of signal when I get past these trigger warnings so that any of the people out there that need to skip that shit can skip that shit. But we'll work that out as time goes on. I was suicidal by the age somewhere between 6 and 7. I tried to kill myself. So needless to say, I was not a happy kid. Even in school, though, people used to think I was happy. I was one of those great maskers. And a lot of depressed people, like especially like you look at comedians, they come across very funny and all that. But usually they're very sad inside and they're hurting a lot. And that was me. I was hurting a lot. I don't know where I learned to shove it down and hide it. But I don't think as a kid, I guess it was subconscious to hide it, but I also, I just loved people and I loved my friends and I wanted to be with them and talk and laugh and, enjoy that. That was my saving grace, I guess, a lot, was having all these people to talk to, and other people to focus on to save, right? I had a bad savior complex for most of my life. And if you see me looking down, I've got this in my hands. I bought it the other day, and it's, a stim toy, I guess, or whatever. It's so good. But it also helps me focus, so here we are. Now I've lost my place a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I remember where we are. But, that was just the first time. And I spent a lot of my first part of my life, probably the first 30 years at least, maybe 35. No, because I was already over here by age 30, and I don't think I was like that too much when I got over here. So at least up until the first 30 years. And I said, oh, here's Australia. Just in case you haven't noticed, my accent is a confused American, because I lived in so many different states. And I've been here now since 2002, and it's 2025. So a long time. But up until I was in my 30s, I suicidal ideation, and it wasn't that I didn't want to die. I just hated the pain. I hated the emotional pain. I hated the constant one shitty relationship after the other, the constant how am I gonna fucking pay for this, how am I gonna pay for that, why doesn't anybody love me, how am I not beautiful, why can't I be pretty, just everything negative. It all sucked. The world happened to me all the time. And then something changed. I've also been homeless many times or close to homeless. Like, I'm not saying or, like, I have been homeless and I've been close to homeless, like within hours of close to homeless before somebody has taken me in. So, um, I've gone to bed hungry many times. I've flirted to get food. um, and some of these things are the things that I'm still working through to get rid of the weight that I have accumulated over the years. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is I've been there, right? I may have not been in your exact circumstance. May have had more abuse and trauma than you have ever could imagine in your life, but that doesn't negate yours. Or I could have had a lot less, and you could have had stuff that blows my mind and go, holy shit, how did you survive? But we're not here to judge each other's trauma, okay? We're here to uplift. And that's another reason why I started this, because I I don't remember how long ago it was now. I was sitting in my therapist's office, probably just almost a year ago, and I was telling them something, like, but I was in a shit mood, honestly. I was in a shit mood. And I'm like, talking about how I always uplift other people and this, that, and the other. And it's coded in my DNA and I can't freaking not do it. And this, that, and the other. And I was like, it's like my whole purpose in life. I was just put here to like make men better so they can go on to marry somebody else and to make, these people that and this people that and da 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 da. And I was like, wait a minute, I just said my whole life's purpose. I've been searching for my whole life's purpose. And I was like, oh my God, like since high school, like I had made a decision. I remember making a decision one night. I can't remember the date or anything. I was like, I never want to hurt people the way I've been hurt. And I want to do what I can to help other people not hurt. So here I am going, well, fuck me. Maybe I should be a mentor. Maybe I should get paid, like start a business and do what I naturally do. I have always uplifted people, but not the blow smoke up the ass kind of upliftment. And I try to look at exactly like who you really are and see what you really got. I'm not going to tell you a great artist if you can barely draw a freaking stick figure, okay? Like, I'm not that kind of person. But if you've got a beautiful smile, or you have great energy, or I love the way that you dress, or your sense of humor, whatever it is, I'm going to tell you. And if I see that you have intelligence, I'm going to tell you. So that's why I'm here. I want people to know that healing is messy. Healing is painful. I didn't realize that myself. When I moved into this house, specifically, I ended up meeting a beautiful chick who I met her online. I still to this day have not met her in person. So in 2020, I met her online. And then I had this other guy in my life. And between the two of them, something about them, for once, and I love all my friends, the friends that I've had over the years and everything, and I love that they loved me. And they loved me the way they loved me. And a lot of times you'll find that your friends accept you, but they expect and want better for you, and that's lovely. Well, these two, it's not that they didn't want better for me. It's just like, it's her journey. We like her exactly as she is. She changes. If that's what makes her happy, that's fine. But if not, who cares? Who cares, because she's amazing as she is. They're talking about me. And I think that, as well as, I mean, the lockdowns we had here in Australia, oh yeah, they sucked. But I still had a lot because of, I was on disability and pension and all that, and I had support workers, and so I actually had a lot of, what am I looking for? Stimulation, I guess. Like, I wasn't isolated. There we go. I was not isolated. Oh my good glories. But yeah. So I moved in here, and they that feeling of safety. This house, this is the nicest place I've ever lived in my life, guys. I have lived in some absolute shitholes, and I was just so proud of myself. I was so proud of myself. And sorry for the little glitch. I had the laptop die in the middle of this. So we're picking things back up where we left off. And it's a little bit hard. I've had to rewatch the videos because it's been just a smidge of time. It's only been like a month and a half since that first part got recorded. And yes, I'm wearing the same top to try to add continuity. But I was leading that up to like just giving an idea of who I am, why I'm here, and why this podcast. You know, if I somehow miraculously impact one person, I'll be stoked. People tell me often that like I uplift a room just by entering it, and I'm hoping that comes through. Let me think. There's other things I want to say. I am sure of it. So basically, my podcast is for anyone. It's for anyone and everyone because it's not just going to be about trauma. It's not going to be just about neuroscience or epigenetics, but those things play into our life every day. I'll probably talk about some of my human design stuff if you don't know about that. We'll get into it at some point. I don't know it deeply. I know the out kind of source, and I'm slowly learning. I hope this will also resonate with younger people. I work with teenagers at the moment. Well, I have a teenager too, and those of you that are around my age, you know your inner teenager never goes away. And there's a lot of those babies I want to save, but and I'm trying my best to not let the old unhealthy let me save everybody version of me come out. But yeah, I hope it's for anyone who's curious about how healing yourself looks. I mean, you probably are not going to get very many snot running down the face and tears running down the face and snot running. Oh my God, you know what I mean? As I sob violently. Thankfully, most of that was like in the beginning. I don't know why. I guess it's harder in the beginning. You don't know what to expect on the healing journey. It can be very painful. But like I've said, there's a beauty in it, in the fact that life is easier then. Like, it's like you're shedding, like you didn't even realize that somebody had put weights on your soul. You know what I mean? With everything, every time somebody said you're stupid or ugly or made you felt worthless because of what they did or said or didn't do or how they did or did not show up, and you made it about how horrible and non-worthy you were. When you process that through and you challenge your beliefs in life, like, why do I believe this way? Who taught me this? Do I agree with it? Is that like, I want myself to be happy, like truly happy, not dickish happy. And we all know there's a difference. I'm not beating people up and being mean and taking what we want, but to truly be happy with who we are and know our worth. Yeah, that's important. And I hope this podcast will be for the beginners and the intermediates and maybe people who are way advanced on this journey, so to speak. I mean, healing's not linear, people. So I hate to use a terminology, but there always is a starting point, right? But each new level is a starting point again. And every time you shed something, some old belief about yourself, about life, about how you want to show up, it's a new starting point, and you're starting all over from the beginning. And that can be daunting at times, because all of a sudden you're in situations that you've been in hundreds of times, but all of a sudden you don't know really how to respond, because you can see and feel and hear how you would have, but that's not you anymore. Or you don't realize till after you've responded, whoa, I just responded better than I've ever responded before. Holy crap cakes. And then you're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. But then you forget over here, over this place and over that place. But then you remember over here, and that's okay because it's messy and it's dirty and it's but dirty in the best way, you know, like I shouldn't say dirty. It can seem messy, what people would call messy, but it's just a beautiful unfolding. So I hope this podcast is for everyone, but it's going to be a lot of very neurodivergent perspective, and though I believe a lot of neurodivergent people have lived through trauma and abuse. I mean, most people have, even those that aren't neurodivergent, they're considered neurotypical, and haven't really. There are times as a child that you haven't had your needs met or whatever, and it's created something inside you that's not healthy per se. Um, we're going to talk about spiritual stuff. So, you know, my spiritual peeps hopefully be coming. Um, and I say spiritual, I don't mean Christian. And no offense to true Christians. I've met some true Christians out there that are very spiritual people and they're beautiful. And I'm grateful for them showing me that the Christians that Christians I grew up with weren't the kind that I resonated with. Let's put it that way. So I picked up the freaking bowl again, and I think it's better if I don't have it in my hands. So, my friends, my lovelies, um, what do I believe? Well, we all know now that I don't believe in the Christian way of believing. Um, I believe the science, and I think I believe the science because I grew up so what they call airy fairy and arty farty. My whole life, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to go to Juilliard and be like a quadruple threat, right? Like the dreams of a child, I tells you. Um, but you know, all the domestic violence and trauma and abuse and whatnot, I just never did. I stayed to protect my mom, and then yeah, whatever. But I do believe our thoughts create our reality, essentially, that we are in charge. Very much a lot of what Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle, depending on how you pronounce it, says. I mean, you hear Bashar. Uh, Gosh, I believe that, and maybe it's because even if it's a placebo, even if I'm just believing it because I want to, who gives a shit? Because my life is better. This week alone, so in between, I have realized how far I have come, and it's freaking amazing. Has it taken me a while? I don't know. If you put in perspective the years it has taken me to get here compared to my whole entire life, then no, it hasn't. If you compare here to my patience, yes, it's taken a long freaking time. So there's that. Um, but anyway, I'm so happy to be back here, and I look forward to doing more podcasts. Now, my issue with that, I haven't finished with what I believe, but you hopefully will learn to jump with me. Um, just while I'm thinking of it, my kid is not here today. They've gone down to the city. They've got a friend in from America that they met on exchange in Denmark. It had nothing to do with me. But anyway, they'll be back, and then like I won't get a lot of time alone. And I personally feel like to really make sure I have my own energy, that you guys are getting pretty much as just me as you can. I like to do these alone, so I don't know when the next podcast will be, but I will work on it. And trying to do this in a camera where everything's backwards, not an easy task. I'm just getting a bit warm, which is weird because it's winter, and that's the way I wanted to go. I don't know. Just work with the people. All right, we won't pay it. We won't. Like, where the hell is that piece? And this big puff. Anyway, look. We're not here to win beauty pageants. And I know why my accent's a bit thicker. I have been watching that Ginny in Georgia because one of the kids at school suggested it. Triggers, people, triggers. So many triggers for me. But I'm like, nah, I'm going to work through this shit. Anyway, so back to what I believe. I believe, because I did all the spiritual stuff and I was like, what have I studied? I studied a bit, well, Christianity, of course, Wiccan, Native American shamanism, Celtic shamanism, um, a little bit of Judaism, because that, you know, their mystic side is a bit interesting. Something about it, maybe because it's also got culture, and I have so many different, like I'm English, Irish, Italian, German, Swedish, and of course, like most white people in America, have a little bit of Native American. Not most, I shouldn't say that. I guess some people. I used to hear the natives say, say that a lot, but my grandparents told me that somebody in, anyway, this is how my mind works. But you get the gist. I'm a Bitsa. I'm a Heinz 47. I'm a little bit of mixing. So I don't have a culture. So a lot of times, cultures, other cultures fascinate me. And I'm not doing, this is going to drive me nuts, really. And I should leave it alone because it's going to drive you nuts. So this is driving me nuts. But anyway, I, I'm really dancing around. See this, I can see this. I'm procrastinating on what I believe, because there's always a fear when you tell people what you believe. I believe that, yeah, that I believe in the law of assumption and the law of revision. If you don't know it, Neville Goddard, but I haven't actually read Neville Goddard or listened to much directly on Goddard speaking. I have listened to people who interpreted Neville Goddard because it's just easier for me. But I might actually read one of his books one day. I tried to listen to one of his audiobooks. But also, so basically, probably could have cut to here. How we think, the things we think, combined with the emotions that we attach to those things, creates not only our health in our body and how our genes express, but what we attract into our life because of, quantum physics and chemistry and all that sort of stuff. I really do believe it has an impact, a larger impact than most people want to believe, or I guess need to believe. Because when you go down this healing journey, there's a lot of shit you have to face that you've done and accepted. So yeah, I believe that. I believe that we create our life, for one reason or another. That everything is either a lesson or a mirror. Well, mirrors can be lessons, but and their lessons are not always bad. So they're mirrors. The mirrors are lessons, and sometimes it's showing you things you like, and then sometimes it's showing you things you don't like, and that's why you don't like that person or like what they did, because it's something about you that you have to address within yourself. I mean, it's very delicate. It's not as cut and dry as that, because sometimes they're showing you what you don't want to put up with anymore. It's not necessarily something horrible bad in you. It's, oh yeah, I used to not have that boundary. I don't like those kind of people anymore. I don't want to be around those kind of people anymore. So that's what I mean. All right. Um, that's the general gist of it, because that is psychophysiology, and that is epigenetics, because they have found, and Dr. Bruce Lipton was one of the earlier ones of that, and that's why I name him, because neuroscience and epigenetics are like the neck and neck for me, for my loves. And yeah, they have found that, like, just like you can think yourself sick, like if you focus on, oh, mom and dad had cancer, da 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 da, you can get yourself sick. But they've also found that the people that you associate, everything you ingest, be it TV, music, food, like everything impacts your energy, your mindset, your thoughts and feelings. Then that generates your health inside your body. And yeah, and sometimes we do it accidentally on purpose, subconsciously. And that subconscious, is a little bit of a tricky one, tricky dicky there. It likes to hold to the old beliefs and patterns that we've given it since time immemorial. Um, so it's fascinating, and I really look forward to talking to you guys about it. And I hope you'll you'll join me, and I hope you'll comment and interact and all that sort of stuff. But why now? Now, like 2 years, right? Because I'm ready. Honestly, I thought like 2 years ago, this electrician guy came and we were talking. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to start a podcast." And he's like, "Yeah, really? I do. I do a podcast." I'm like, "Really?" And I started following him, and I love his, by the way. Oh my gosh. Give me a second. I just got a text message to it, and I want to look it up because I'm shocking for remembering things. But hold on. Okay, so first I had to make sure I resumed, because when I first started the last time, I accidentally stopped. the thing instead of pausing it. So anyway, we will learn. So that was my kiddo, and I still have plenty of time to talk to you guys. Um, the podcast that he started was called The Silly Stories for Kids, and it's amazing. I listened to quite a few stories, and I just think, wow, this guy is so creative. And he's really, really good and very, very sweet man. And his family seems really, really loving. And yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a podcast. That was over 2 years ago, guys. So I guess I just needed other things. Like I tried to start it, like one time, and this is my laptop. We call her Sally. By we, I mean me. And because I name inanimate things all the time. And I made this one. I sat down one day and I was so excited and I did it. And Polly's, where the hell? Anyway, Sally, Sally and podcast became Polly. Crashed and burned. And then by the time she came up and whatever. Anyway, hold on, the child again. So basically that's it. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. I'm finally in a place mentally, emotionally, spiritually, growth wise that I can do it. I finally got a website started, and I believe in myself more than I did back then. I felt more imposter syndrome then than I do now, because there's always that rooted demon of there's always somebody that knows more. There's people that know more. There are people that have done more. And I have to remember that, well, that's their journey, and that they could help somebody else, and hopefully I'm going to help you guys. So, yeah, that's what this podcast is going to be about. Sometimes it'll just be about life. My social medias will still be little snippets of this and that, and also be just general living things. I do have 2 channels, Neurodiverse Living Out Loud. I haven't done much in a long time because, neurodiverse. Also on my other ones, my main ones, I at Conceptual Impressions, because that's my main brainchild from which all other businesses will be launched from. And just like 3 minds aligning, and as I said, the 3 minds are your gut brain, your heart brain, and your brain. To get all those in alignment, and by that I mean being authentic with yourself, like truly authentic, beyond, underneath all the pain, all the hurt, all the crap other people put onto you. Maybe sometimes I'll just be readings from a book that I find a chapter fascinating, or the book fascinating, and talk to you guys about that. I don't know. We'll see how we go. Maybe I'll be talking to you about plants. I've got a lot now. Well, that's a bucket, but whatever. There we go. I've had to bring in that whole shelf because I have way too many plants. Anyway, yeah. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. If you stayed this long, please just drop a little thumbs in the comment or something to let me know that you stayed, or a little heart, because from my heart to yours. And if you find my vibe something that you want to watch and see how I grow and change and hopefully help you and move people, like and subscribe if you're feeling that vibe, because that's the way we roll in life, right? If it feels good, investigate it at least. Anyway, from my heart to your guys, bye.